Document Summarization Tool. Welcome back. In this project, we are building a document summarization tool using LangChain. Summarization is a key task in NLP, and by the end of this lesson, you'll have a bot that can turn long text passages into short, readable summaries. What is text summarization? Text summarization is the process of distilling the most important information from a document into a shorter version without losing the core message. This is useful when you have long articles, reports, or documents and need to understand the main points quickly. What are the different types of text summarization? We have extractive summarization. This method pulls key phrases and sentences directly from the text. It's like selecting the most important parts without changing the words. And then we have abstractive summarization. This process generates new sentences to capture the main idea, similar to how a human would write a summary in their own words. Let's look at some of the applications of summarization. Summarization is widely used in news aggregation, where creating summaries of news articles, document review, where you condense lengthy reports, content curation, which is providing a quick insights on blog posts or articles. How do we implement summarization? For this project, we'll use an abstractive summarization model from Hugging Face, which will generate summaries by rephrasing the content in its own words. Let's get started by setting up our summarization model. Building a summarization tool using LangChain. The objective here is to set up a Hugging Face summarization model within LangChain and build the core function to summarize the text. So first is setting up the model. We'll use a pre-trained summarization model from Hugging Face called Facebook slash BART large CNN, which is well suited for abstractive summarization tasks. This model is efficient for summarizing longer passages, making it a great choice for our tool. Let's go ahead and install the dependencies. Before we start, make sure you have the Hugging Face transformers library installed. If not, just run pip install transformers, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and first create an environment, virtual environment. I'm going to say python minus m v and call it doc sum env, and then to activate it I'll say source sum env slash bin slash activate. So now I'm inside here. So here I'm going to install the transformers. I'm going to say pip install transformers. I also might need some other tools like keras. So I'm going to say pip install tf-keras, which is our library that has a framework for TensorFlow keras. So that's while that is happening, I'm going to go back here and talk about the rest. So loading the summarization pipeline. Let's load the summarization pipeline from Hugging Face. This pipeline will handle text processing and summarization, making it easy to use right out of the box. So let's write the code for setting up the summarization pipeline. For that, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say from transformers import pipeline, and then load the summarization pipeline by saying summarization pipeline and call the pipeline function, pass it summarization and model that I mentioned, Facebook slash BART large CNN. Now, what is this summarization pipeline? The pipeline function from Hugging Face makes it simple to set up models for common NLP tasks. In this case, we are specifying summarization, which loads a model that generates concise summaries from longer text. With our summarization model set up, let's move on creating a function that takes passage as the input and returns a summarized version. So summarizing long text passages into concise summaries. The objective here is to build the core function to generate summaries and create a simple user interface for interacting with the summarization tool. So first, creating a function to generate summaries. Let's create a function called summarize text that takes a long text passage as input, runs it through the summarization pipeline, and returns a summary. Let's write the code for that. So I'm going to say create a function summarize text max length is 130 and minimum length is 30. Summary, So I'm going to say summarization pipeline. That's how I call the pipeline. I pass it the long text that is passed to this, and I specify the max length, min length, and do sample equal to false. Now this max length and min length specify the length range of the summary. We can adjust these values to control the summary length. And setting the do samples to false makes the summarization more deterministic, giving consistent summaries each time. So that's our summarization pipeline function. Next, before that, let's go ahead and return the summary back. So it comes inside the first object summary text. So that's what we have. Next is testing the summarization function. Now let's test our summarized text function with a sample input. Let's go ahead. I'm going to create an example here, a text which will have LangChain is a framework for building applications with large language models. It helps in creating chatbots, question answering systems, and much more. LangChain supports various model integrations, and it's great for handling both simple and complex NLP tasks. With LangChain, developers can quickly prototype and deploy language based applications, making it an invaluable tool in the AI ecosystem. I'm going to close that text, and then I'm going to call the function summary, summarize text, and print it out. And there you go. So they print out the original text and the summary here. When we run this, the output should be concise summary of the text passage, capturing the main point. So we can go ahead and try this out since we already have it here. I'm going to clear and say Python document summarization tool. So it took some time, but afterwards it kind of gave me my summary. It gave me some warnings here saying that your max length is set to 130, but your input text is only 82, since this is a summarization task where output shorter than the input task are wanted. So anyways, it gave me the option. It showed me the original text here, as I mentioned, to print it here, and then my summary was provided here where it says LangChain is a framework for building applications with language model. It helps in creating chatbots, question answering systems, and much more. So it kind of summarized the entire thing for me, removing unwanted items or something that it thought was not necessary. I hope you were able to follow along. If not, just let me know and I'll get back to you. But our next topic is creating a user interface. Now, from our previous projects, you probably realize this is what we do usually. Now, to make our summarization tool interactive, let's create a simple loop where users can enter text and receive summaries. For that, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to keep the code, I'm going to delete that afterwards, but I'm going to create a main function and say print welcome to the document summarization tool and create a while true loop where I'm going to say get the input from user and ask him enter text to summarize or type exit to quit. And then if text dot lower equal to exit, you're going to print goodbye and break out of it. Then I'm going to say summary equal to summarize text, whatever text was passed to me, and then I'm going to print that summary out to the user. Then I'm going to run the main loop, which is here. So here, what happens inside this interaction loop? In this loop, users can keep entering text passages for summarization. Typing exit will end the session. The bot will generate a summary for each text input, making it easy to condense long text passages in real time. Let's test our tool with some. So next step is example test run. We'll test our tool with different inputs such as let's go ahead and let me remove this because we don't need this. We don't need that. I'm going to save it and I am going to run this project now. So let's go ahead and test this Python document summarization tool. And this time I'm going to give it much probably shorter text and see what it says. Is give me the same error or warning. It's saying your length is set to 130 but the input is only 16, but it's still going to go and process with whatever I provided and try to give me a summarization of it. And also LangChain was developed by Lang team at University of California Berkeley, so it didn't even give me summary, but based on its own model or trained model, it gave me some more information. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same text that I gave earlier, that long text, and pass it here and then press enter just to see how consistent it is with the summarization. It's going to take some time. And there you go. We have the summary of it. LangChain is a framework. There's It helps in creating chatbots, question much more. It is great for handling both simple and complex NLP tasks. So this is amazing. So it gives you this option. You can change the length of your max length of your summary depending on how you want it. Play around with it and let me know how it goes. I am going to press exit and say goodbye to this and go back. So with our summarization tool complete, let's review the key concepts and takeaways from this particular project. I'm going to jump into summary and key takeaways. In here, let's go over some of the key concepts first. In this project, we explored text summarization, an essential task in NLP. We learned that summarization can be either extractive or abstractive. We used an abstraction summarization model from Hugging Face, which generates summaries by creating new sentences rather than copying from the original text. Some of the recap is to build the summarization tool, we loaded a pre-trained summarization model using Hugging Face pipeline. We created a function to generate concise summaries from long text passages, and we built a simple user interface to make the tool interactive. Practical application. Now, summarization tools like this one have numerous applications. They are useful for condensing long news articles or reports, generating quick summaries for academic papers, helping users read through large volumes of content efficiently. So, great job on completing our project 3. You now have a working document summarization tool. In the next lesson, we'll build on these skills to explore another LangChain project focused on extracting keywords from text.